Good afternoon, Villa fans, and welcome to a match reaction for Walsall 1, Aston Villa 0. I'm absolutely fuming. Only joking. It's just about minutes in the legs, isn't it, really? So nothing to get too bent out of shape about. I know a lot of fans are sort of losing their marbles on social media already, but it's nothing really. It's just minutes in the legs. It's a chance for some youngsters to impress. It's the first game of pre-season. As I said in my match preview, it was very much a shop window opportunity for a lot of youngsters to show what they could do. One or two, maybe three have come out looking quite good. The rest didn't really sort of take their chances. Disappointment really was, with people like Joe Gouchie, for example. I was hoping maybe he might be ready to kind of step up his game a little bit, but within the first minute, he comes out flapping it across, which luckily doesn't lead to a goal. Then he makes a good save, and then he basically passes the ball out to one of the Walsall players and almost concedes again. So wasn't great from Joe Gouchie. Doesn't fill me full of confidence. He looks very nervy on the ball. That was on my notes from watching the game. Gouchie, very, very nervy. I wouldn't want him playing between the sticks for us at all. He's almost like the kid at school that has all the flashy gear and all the latest boots and, the Adidas Predators or the Tiempos, but, all the gear and no idea kind of thing. For Joe Gouchie, I think he's going to be moved on. He's not a young player. I think he's like 25 now. And, I don't think he's going to be anywhere near kind of the first team reckoning. It wouldn't surprise me if we got a move for him somewhere. Maybe not now, but maybe in January or something for him to go out. But I'm glad we've got Bizot as the number 2, more of an experienced head, because if we had to go in with Joe Gouchie for 3 games in the Premier League, I'd be very, very nervous about that. The other youngsters that played, obviously Mosquera here in your picture, played at centre-back with Pau Torres, did well. Big kind of guy, good speed about him. Didn't have a lot to do, but whatever he had to do, did all right with. Again, I think you could benefit from a loan spell out for sure. And then we had obviously Torres partnering. We had Tristan Rowe at right back, which I thought he might come in. He did a steady Eddie kind of job, really. I don't think Emery told him to get forward too much. Caden Young was playing on the right wing, who actually kind of disappointed me. I was looking forward to seeing Caden Young, as I mentioned in my preview, but he didn't really get into the game. He was quite a frustrating figure out there on the sort of right wing and stuff. But Moreno on the left back, again, I was expecting a little bit more from him. Obviously, he's lost his pace, which was a big part of his game. And now he just seems to be a bog standard kind of left back with no real kind of quality. And I think he's, he needs to be sold. He's well down the pecking order at left back now. We've got Martin Digne, you could probably say Ian Jr. Ahead of him, and then probably someone like Moreno. So at 31 years of age, I think his time is up at Villa and he'll be moving on. Bogard played in CDM with Ross Barkley. Didn't do, again, too much, really. That was impressive. There was one little driving run, but he's just going to be a stopgap filler. I think, again, if he can benefit from a loan move, perhaps, would be quite good. But I don't really see him pushing anywhere near the first team at all. Barkley was one that I was expecting a little bit more from as well, maybe to sort of dominate midfield a bit better. His first game back, though. Having said that, and, these guys do have sort of individual training as well throughout the pre-season. They have a lot of time spent doing work, not just having the whole summer off, which is like what it was back in the day, and you come back like a stone overweight. That doesn't kind of happen anymore. So I was expecting a little bit more sharpness from Ross Barkley, but he got caught on the ball a couple of times for me, and it didn't really kind of impress. And then the ones in front of that, I mentioned sort of Caden Young. Jacob Ramsey was the captain. Again, didn't do too much on the ball, didn't really sort of influence the game, didn't drive with the ball. Again, first game back, I suppose, but I was expecting a little bit more from JJ. Juma Aloba, I'll be honest with you, I didn't realise he was playing until the commentator said his name in about the 40th minute. Totally anonymous, playing in that sort of number 10 role, I think it was, but I didn't even notice him. I couldn't even say anything that he did in the ball. I don't recall anything at all in his 45 minutes that he played. And Louis Barry, again, the same. He's been primed for a loan move now to Sheffield United perhaps. But he really struggled at this level. This is League Two, obviously, where he did shine previously. But yesterday wasn't his game. He looked totally off it. Couldn't get into the game. Didn't get much service. So yeah, wasn't a great first half. And then going in 1-0 down. Walsall looking sharp. Albert Adoma looking a bit sharp as well. Their goal was well taken. Nice little back heel flick. And you must say that they had the better chances as well in that first half. Second half, obviously changed the team around, brought in the likes of Tyrone Mings there at the back. Obviously, Gouchie going off injured, so Marshall came in and played the whole game from there. But yeah, Mings coming in with TJ Carroll, Ozcan at left back. He's not a left back, but he had to fill in the slot there. And Garcia came in at right back, and Garcia offered a little bit more getting forward. And TJ Carroll was trying to pick him out with those long balls over the top. Midfield-wise, George Hemmings in CDM with Kamara stood out for me. Looks like a composed player. Looks like he's got the physicality. And, he's definitely one that did come out of the game with, positive vibes. TJ Carroll as well with some good balls over the top. These are all young players, remember. But ahead of that, we had Charlie Pavey. First look at him, really. Playing in the number 10. It should have scored his one-on-one chance that he had. Puts it just wide. It was almost like a sort of Grealish-esque sort of little dink. But and then he had a chance with a header from I think it was a Ben Burrows cross, who did well on the right-hand side to get that cross in, but didn't do too much else after that. But yeah, Pavey should have scored that header as well, but puts it just wide. And then Lewis Dobbin was playing up front. Obviously, Travis Patterson on the left as well. Patterson didn't do too much. Lewis Dobbin had that chance where he raced sort of clear and he had options left and right, but I think he was right to take it on himself, and it was a really good save from the Walsall keeper to deny him. But you've got to be putting away those chances, really, Lewis Dobbin, and that was a big kind of miss for me. I felt as though maybe it was a chance to maybe sort of try out a new formation. Perhaps we had sort of three centre backs on the pitch. We had Ozcan playing at left back, which isn't really his game. Could have tried like a 3-4-3 formation, almost like a Crystal Palace kind of formation. Just to see how that would work, and that would give like Garcia and Patterson on the wings a bit more license to roam forward, and then that would also give a bit more support to the front man who was Dobbin in the second half, getting maybe sort of Pavey and Ben Burrows sort of closer to him, but it didn't happen, and ultimately the game kind of fizzled out. It was disappointing that we didn't really sort of create that many chances. And a lot of the passing was sideways and backwards. I know it's all about minutes into the legs and all that sort of stuff, but I would have liked to have seen a little bit more urgency, a little bit more effort sort of going forward. And yeah, I mean, I was getting a bit kind of frustrated. Like every time we kind of crossed the halfway line and we're getting into like a promising position, perhaps down the wing, we just pass it all the way back to our centre backs, sort of in our own half. And as an idea for FIFA, UEFA, whoever, the Premier League, maybe they're obviously doing loads of rule changes, bringing in the VAR and trying to stop the time wasting from the goalkeepers. How about once the attacking team passes across over the halfway line, they're not allowed to pass back into their own half? That might be an interesting kind of look. Then you'll get the centre backs that have to push up to the halfway line. If the ball gets intercepted, then you've got players who are going to be basically in a foot race against centre backs with balls over the top or balls through the middle, which will make it a much more exciting game. I just think like building up, getting forward and having to pass the ball all the way back, and it goes all the way back to centre-backs or goalkeepers, it's just so infuriating, really. So it's a training drill that I used to do when I was a youth coach, which would basically encourage centre-backs to get forward. It would encourage positive and attacking movements, and it really worked well, especially sort of at youth level. Just an idea, maybe it could be implemented there as well. But yeah, minutes into the legs, nothing really to worry about. We move on to Hansa Rostock now on Saturday. Hopefully we'll see a few more first teamers on that trip and get more sort of minutes into their legs. And obviously we've got the America trip coming up as well. But guys, let me know your thoughts on the game last night. I said it was a shop window for many. For me, only Hemmings, Carroll and Mosquera really kind of impressed in any shape or form. But apart from that, largely disappointing performance. But we go on to the next one. Hansa on Saturday, up the Villa. Enjoy the rest of your days. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll be coming back at you with some a match preview for the Hansa game at some point tomorrow. All right, bye for now.